I'm here
Oh,
just
good.
for the record.
Hey, I see you and I hear you. This is perfect. How are you doing?
Awesome. Just sitting here in the Arizona winter, 62 degrees,
Oh, my heart bleeds for you.
blue skies.
When you called me yesterday and you were walking through the desert in the blazing heat and I was sat in the rain, it's so sad. What a sad life we're living in the UK at the moment. But
Yeah,
that's why we're so
I took a 2 hour walk, topless, just to get some vitamin D from the sun. Is great.
And this is what he told me on the phone yesterday. He was like, "Hey Laura, I'm topless." I was like, "Okay, cool." But yeah, that's why we invited you here today. So I won't ramble on because we've got loads of people joining, ready to listen to you. But yeah,
Yeah.
essentially, what's going on here for you, Nicholas, and for everyone else who's listening is that it's really bad weather in the UK, and it's really sad that we can't get our skydiving fix as much as we'd like to. So we're going to host this series of webinars. They're called winter webinars because we're going to host them throughout January, February, and March, and we're inviting people from around the world to come and share their stories. And Niklas Hemlin is, for anyone who doesn't know, multiple time world champion, world record holder, organised the world record that took place in October last year, and part of the four-way team Arizona Airspeed. So yeah, Niklas is going to have a chat with me. I've got some questions for him and we should learn a lot. Is that a good intro, Niklas?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Of
And
course.
today was the day because tomorrow I'm training. So,
So I'm
back,
hoping when I skip
back.
onto my next screen, there's going to be a video of you training with your team. And I think that's probably a good opportunity for you to give us some background of who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing what you do, and just so that people can get to know you.
Yeah. My name is Niklas Hemlin, born and raised in Sweden, and so I'm European by birth, and moved to the U.S. in 1999. Started skydiving in 1994, and had so this past year was my 30th season. And as you said, I joined Arizona Airspeed in late 2010, and has been a member ever since. And this coming year is my last year on the team, and we're going big. It's going to be a competitive season with the French four-way team, and we're training hard. Like I said, we start our training tomorrow. We did have a 2 week camp in December just to kind of get back on it early. Had 3 weeks off for the holidays, and now we're ready, and it's just full steam ahead.
You say it's going to be a big year. What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, we have a very busy year, which it's nice. It's we're doing everything from starting to train early in December, and then we gonna go to U.S. Nationals, which is just happened to be scheduled at the same time as the Win Games, which I know Kamira is going to. Woo woo. And then we're gonna go to the Shamrock, go up against the French head to head in jumping, and then going to China to the Indoor World Cup in Macau. And I think that'll be the last time we see them. And then we have U.S. National September, World Meet in October, and yeah, we have a full year of training ahead of us. So it's going to be great. It's a lot of
Amazing.
exciting stuff for me in my last year on the team. Like we also have the Arizona Challenge in May. And for people that don't know, it's Airspeed's signature big way event, which dates back to the original lineup that started this annual event. And we're going to celebrate Airspeed's 30-year anniversary. So the true anniversary is December of 1993 for the team. But anyways, and then we are planning also hopefully a another TBS record in October, November next year, or this year, sorry. So I'll yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff happening this year if you're in the airspeed camp. Yeah.
Amazing. There's so much cool stuff going on. And obviously, with a 30-year history, you guys have achieved a huge amount, obviously, with the lineup that you've got now, current world champions, but also just over that whole time. But I'm interested in where things kind of started for you. We're going to have a lot of people on the call who are maybe early stage skydivers. They're maybe thinking about doing four-way, thinking about getting into FS. Why did you start doing it, and how have you ended up where you are now?
Well, I started skydiving when I was 16. I was a young lad in Sweden, and I got introduced to skydiving through martial arts. There was one of my coaches that was a skydiver and he pointed me in the right direction. And the first year, I just did, I think, 85 jumps. And that includes just do my traditional um, student progression, where I think you have to have like 28 skydives, so 35 skydives or something like that. And you start from 1,000 meters or 3,500 feet, and just instructor assisted deployment. And from there, I just started skydiving in my club the very next year. I did like 350 jumps, which is quite a lot of jumps in Sweden. I'm sure the weather is not a whole lot better in Sweden than what it is in England. And yeah, I just did big ways, did some fun four ways, just kind of connected in the community. And from there, I just started doing four-way locally and fell in love with it. And there was something called the Swedish Project in skydiving, which was actually by Lucas Knutsson is his name. He started it, and his goal was to start like an airspeed type of a project in Sweden, where there was an 8-way team and a 4-way team. And the very first year that happened was they picked an 8-way team. And my third year of skydiving, I ended up going to that tryout, which was actually a 2-week tryout at the Stockholm Parachute Club. And after those 2 weeks, they picked the 4 members, and they picked me to be on it. And at the time, I don't even think I was 18 at the time. And they picked me, and then you get subjected to Jack Jeffries and Craig Girard, Pete Allen, and it was quite amazing. And that's when I decided I want to become a world champion and a full-time skydiver.
I love that. That's so cool. So a 2-week tryout to get one of 4 places on that team. That must have been pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, it's before tunnels, so it was 100 jumps were planned over the 3 weeks, and we did all the jumps. And the team was picked by the coaches, and of course, there was 40 people in that basic camp. And they called it the Swedish Basics Camp. So it's quite amazing thinking back. 3 weeks, everyone, 40 people at this club, just jumping. It's really cool.
That is very cool. Now, obviously,
All that
becoming
stuff
world.
happens in like over a weekend in the tunnel these days.
Well, yeah, that's very true. And I was going to say, I think the way that we approach skydiving these days, especially in recent years, has changed quite a lot. And certainly here in the UK, people get started and they want to get their FS1, and then they want to do tracking and then free flying. And there's all these different new things that we can try. And at the same time, certainly in my experience of four-way, you can get to a point where you feel like the gains that you're making are really, really tiny. We want to go from this average to a very, very slightly bigger average. How did you find that you kept yourself motivated? Even like you knew that you wanted to be world champion, but day to day, how do you keep yourself going?
Well, I think when I first started my first year, I did everything, just played around. From solo jumps to 2-ways to anything I used. And then, like I said, on my second or third year, I did big ways. And I remember when I was young, zip flying was a thing when you had these suits, like camera jackets that you did zip flying. Head down just started. So I did a bunch of head down also in the old style, like flying like this.
Delivering the pizzas.
Yeah.
No.
So I did all that stuff, and I think that's important just to play around to find your thing. But ultimately, my personality is I'm very competitive, and four-way is just such a small and challenging discipline. Just need 3 more teammates, and to me, it was like if the sport was made for me, it was definitely either like today I'm kind of into dynamic flying in the tunnel too, so it's just I'm very competitive, and I find that four-way was my thing, or two-way dynamic is my thing also, because it's just fast, simple, and yeah,
Just like
I
you.
just fell in love with it. But I feel like also I found role models. I found Arizona Airspeed and all its members. Pete Allen was a big influence for me when I grew up. And then just seeing these people and really admiring them, who they were, how they carried themselves, and kind of just I was attracted to everything. And then the skydiving was just, the arena in which all those things happened. And of course, four-way being the most popular discipline, I don't know, it was just, I just fell in love. And once I fell in love, it was just, it was just very easy for me to put the effort in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You mentioned teammates there and kind of how it's just about finding the right teammates. And over the years, you've had lots of different lineups, and you guys recently announced that you have a new camera person on your team. Have you got any advice for people who are trying to find their first teammates, or maybe for people who are in a team to make sure that their teammates stay well aligned and on the same page with each other?
Well, I don't think you're going to find the perfect match right away. And I feel like just as you're hanging out at the drop zone or at the wind tunnel, I feel like you bump into people that you have some sort of chemistry with, or you kind of laugh at the same jokes, or you like the same things. And those are the big people you want to connect with. But I also feel like there's a bridge there where if you have equal commitment to doing four-way, resources, I feel like all those other things kind of just work themselves out. And in the beginning, when you're just touching people, it's like when you have a big commitment like Chimera, I spent how many years with you guys? 5 years?
Yeah.
I mean, but you guys really connected. And and I feel like at that moment, chemistry is more important. But in the beginning, it doesn't really matter. Just start jumping together, and as you're in the scene more and more, go to events, go to league meets, try to connect. I mean, if you really want to improve, the best way to improve is to find three other people. And it happens all the time, even here in the tunnels. It doesn't even have to be the same people. You can have a pool of 10 people that you ask, and it's always different people, and you do four-way and you try different slots. And especially in the tunnels, because the weather is time efficient, and relatively is cheap compared to skydiving, especially as I said earlier about the time commitment.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I feel like the biggest thing, you just fall in love with the discipline and experiment, and along the way, you're going to meet the right people.
No, I love that. And you did mention about kind of finding three other people, but obviously recently, back in October, you and I found 106 of our closest friends and did the Big Way world record. Can you talk to us more about your experience in Big Way, and do you enjoy it as much as you do four way? Is it a different thing? Tell us about that.
Well, first of all, the world record, I feel like for airspeed, airspeed has gotten into big ways more than maybe we wanted to. Uh, I mean, if you go back 15 years, uh, Skydive Arizona was just had teams cycling through before the tunnels, and people needed good weather, and they needed the lift capacity and the coaches. Everything was here, but I feel like the scene has changed now. As far as it's easier to fly a coach than to fly a whole team to Arizona. It's cheaper to train in your own tunnel locally, and then skydive out of your own club, or skydiving or your own drop zone in the summertime. So it's easy to fly your coach around. So the need to, justifying our sponsorship here at Skydive Arizona, we had to kind of embark on big ways. And it was not something that we really wanted to do at first, but we kind of had the Arizona Challenge that we could blueprint from. And I feel like right now we have a very good kind of big way scene going on. But it was definitely me taking the reins and building that big way program. And in doing so, I feel like other very competent programs. First of all, I learned a bunch, because when I was handed the program from the alumni, I wasn't quite ready for it. But I've done so much work in it that other people outside of Arizona Airspeed, like the Power Games, have noticed what we're doing, or the NBC, and they've now reaching out to us to collaborate. So that world record that we had in October came from Dieter reaching out to me and then collaborating with Airspeed, which brings an extremely competent faction of the Power Games together with Arizona Airspeed. And then I feel like it was a super fun event to earn that world record as a group.
And it was challenging as well, right?
Oh, dude, we got it like with only one jump left.
I know, I remember. And
Yeah.
we're actually really lucky to have Dieter's on the call now, I think, and he's going to be joining us to do one of these in a few weeks' time as well. And I
Yeah.
think
No,
something that I
Dieter
know.
called it, dude. Dieter, when we walked into the beginning of the event, he called it. He was like, all the records we all get on the last day on the last jump. Except for
It was
one jump
either going to
left.
be that or the first jump on the first day, and we would have all been like, that was easy, we're done.
Yeah.
But I feel like you and Dieter and kind of Airspeed versus kind of Dieter's group, you worked so well as a team, but you brought really different things to it. And my understanding of the way that you'd put your group together is that there were a lot of us who were four-way flyers. Would you say that four-way is the best way to get into big way for anyone who's listening who wants to get on a record in the future?
Oh yeah, I mean, all the skills that you need. Like if you do a four-way, you're exiting together, and then flying the hill, and then learning just the basic big wave formations. It's like building a cat, a compressed, facing in, facing out, building the donuts. All those things happen multiple times in every jump in four-way. Flying pieces, keep a track, adjusting for levels. Even if you're like in a rookie four-way, your skills, the ability to be able to fly your body, pick up grips, look across, communicate, key, turn, and get on and off grips together. I mean, there's no better discipline to build your skills as far as big ways. And the ability to be able to fly any of these formation in a very dynamic environment. And you can even do 5, 10, 12 points in a skydive. And if you build a compressed 4 or 5 times, you're just going to build that one time. Compressed being one of the more difficult formations to build. And then in big ways, to learn the other things of flying big ways, such as last diver or first floater, or the radials and the approaches, and all the I mean, that's the easy part once you have the flying skills. I mean, I think Dieter, all of Airspeed, anyone that does big waves, prefer to have skilled four-way jumpers with less big wave experience, as long as they're safe, than people that have a lot of big wave experience and they don't really know how to build all these type of formations, without compromising their own flying.
Yeah.
So yeah. So four-way, eight-way, I feel like it's a very hard discipline to be successful with in free fall. So eight-way is like also a very nice discipline, but it takes a much higher level of individual skills to have the same kind of experience that a lower skill level can have in four-way. So that's why I
Okay.
prefer the four-way format. You know.
That makes sense. Yeah, for
Yeah.
me, it was definitely four-way first. And I think I had done a lot of big way and I'd done a lot of load organizing, but perhaps not as much big way as I felt I should have done to justify the amount of organizing I was doing. So coming with you guys, doing the Arizona challenge, doing the big way record was a lot of fun. But definitely I was glad that I'd started my journey with four-way first. I think that gave me the best foundation for it.
Yeah, but I did the same thing when I was given the challenge. Um, well, on Arizona Airspeed, that's a signature event. It's supposed to compete with the best of the best when it comes to the power games or P3, right? And it was a responsibility of the team, and I was the senior member. Here you go, boom. But I didn't have enough experience to really make it justice.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of learning I had to do and the challenge kind of declined a little bit for the first couple of years. And then as I've learned, I just had to eat humble pie, keep doing it, humble pie. Then eventually the quality started going up, and I've learned so much. And I feel like people signing up, they sign up to have good skydives. And like I even did something called Hemlin's Gremlins, which is once a month, a 12-way to like a 20-way every month in the beginning, just to kind of get that whole skill set. And that's the perfect platform for people to pick up big ways in a smaller format. You do like 12 ways, 16 ways, 18 ways at your local drop zone, or you can drill certain segments in a smaller groups to really learn the diving or the floating aspect of things. But those are the easy things to learn, I feel like. If you get into the whole four-way,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is going to excel your flying very, very quickly. It's going to show you weaknesses, and then you can hop in a tunnel and drill it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess that's only one part of it as well, though, isn't it? The actual flying ability. I think for me, when I'm load organizing, there are certain behaviors that I look for in the people that I'm organizing that make them kind of easier to organize and easier to coach. And I think the phrase big way etiquette has been thrown around a lot, of kind of what kind of behaviors we're expecting, what attitudes people should be having. As a load organizer, have you got any advice for people who are trying to get into big ways in terms of how they should be behaving?
Shut up and listen. No, it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, first of all, the way I like to organize, the biggest one is safety.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have you have to really take the safety aspect very seriously, because if you're a bigger group and you're talking even a 20-way, if you don't have if you don't adhere to the breakoffs and the proper tracking, clearing your airspace, and managing your canopy traffic and your landing, it's not going to be fun. I've been on big ways where the safety. So as far as that, you have to take that very seriously. And then the other thing is just a very defensive posturing. Big ways, you're exposed to a lot of people around you, and being exposed to a lot of people, your ego gets involved, and people take things very personal. And the job of the organizer is to keep it safe. And if it's safe, it's going to be fun. And if it's fun, let's try to learn something. And for me, the culture we have here in with Airspeed is everyone learns from everyone's mistakes. So if I highlight it, we might make fun of you a little bit, just to collectively laugh, lighten up the mood, and then we move on. But I feel like be on time and be inquisitive. But I also feel like in big ways, as an organizer, if someone asks me, "Hey, how did Laura Hampton do?" Oh, I didn't even notice her. So as a big way organizer, if she is like goes I know her, but she's anonymous through the whole event, I feel like that's a good thing. But then again, that's at the world record level. If you have like a workshop, or you show off for an introduction to big ways, then you have to massage certain segments of the skydive more. And then you want to be noticed because you want to interact with the coach or the organizer to get the most information, because you might ask a question someone doesn't want to ask, but they wanted to. So, and when you're at a world record, Laura was invited because she's capable enough, and if she's noted, that's not necessarily a good thing. No,
That's
but
it.
fun story. Our cameraman that we have now, our new camera guy, Alex, he was on the TBS and he went low on the first job.
No, I didn't know that.
And we're
I
like,
tell you
who's
what,
this
leaving.
guy? Who the fuck is this guy? Oh shit, that's our camera guy.
Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, it's our camera guy.
I tell you what, leaving the formation early, as I did in the Arizona Challenge, I think it was the first 62-way that we did, and I had not changed my audible correctly. And as I tracked away and I looked back between my legs at 61 other people still in formation, that was one of the worst moments ever. And expensive. I had to buy a lot of beer. Yeah, that's really cool insight. Thank you. I've got a few questions that have been sent in. I feel like I'm a radio presenter. A few questions from the public out there who have been sending in their questions for us. So Nick LaRue, who is one of our recent AFF graduates at Langar, he had a few questions for you, and he says one of them: is there anything that you wish that you knew earlier on in your journey that you think would have helped you to progress quicker?
I didn't want to come back this year.
Anything I would have known earlier? That's a tricky one. I don't think so. I don't feel like anything was missing on my journey. I feel like my landscape when I started, it was everything was belly with a little bit of a new free flying and a little bit of SIP flying. And in this day and age, is so much information out there. You can do canopy piloting and wingsuiting or free flying, or you can do you can do angle skydives. I would say that what I would encourage instead of something I would learn is to experiment and definitely subject yourself. I feel like it's a lot of free flyers or belly flyers or wingsuiters. They become very segregated. And, I haven't done a wingsuit jump ever, but I know Andy from Hayabusa, he's very much into wingsuiting. I'm very much into free flying, which Dennis from Hayabusa is also. And I feel like just kind of cross pollinate. And I know you and I, Laura, have talked a lot about maybe even collaborating some sort of big way hybrids, because we've never seen big way hybrids. You're talking 40 ways, And so if I'm going to encourage a certain behavior, go out there and experiment, but do it safely, because it's a lot of information, good information. It's like, yeah, everything in this day and age is specialized, and you have so much good information out there. So
I like it. Good advice. Experiment, try a bit of everything.
yeah.
I've got a couple of other questions that I can ask, but if anyone wants to, oh, here we go. Jake John has a question. On the point of big way etiquette, a personal lesson I learned early in my jumping was just fly in whatever group and slot you're put in to the best of your ability. Don't act like a jerk and being in a group you perceive to be below your ability. Acting like a tool to Laura many years ago hurt my jumping in so many ways. So I think what Jake's saying here is that it's important just to, even if you feel like you've been put in a group that doesn't meet where your perceived skill level is, even if you think you're in like the baby group and actually I should be in the higher level group, just get on with it. Just
everyone always wants to be the weakest link. Everyone always wants to be the weakest link, because then they're going to learn the most. But
it's the
then
best place to be by far.
Under the microscope for everyone. So I feel like trust the organizer. And also, a lot of people want to be the last diver, the first floater, have the hero slot. And not everyone can have the hero slot, So if you just look around and you have a 20-way or a 10-way, you really, I don't pick. Sometimes I'm going to have a less experienced groups. I want the most experienced people in the base with me. And they're like, oh, that's boring. I want to be on the outside. Or, you have someone who's really skilled, but a little bit heavier, and or the group overall is a little bit lighter. You're going to have to be in the base, or at least if I put you on the outside and less experience in the middle, don't fall as fast. So just trust your organizer. And if you want to do a particular skydive, then organize it yourself in a little bit. But if you're new, just learn. Go in and learn. Keep an open mind and have a lot of fun, And you can be in the base and be a floater and a diver. But if you're a very tiny person, you probably not going to be in the center. And if you are, you're going to have to wait up quite a lot. Okay. So, yeah.
That makes sense. I'm going to start wrapping things up for us now, just because I'm conscious of time. But I'm also very aware that you are a multiple-time world champion in four-way FS. You have also produced world champions around the world, including us. Thank you so much for making us the British national champions. If there's anyone on this chat now who is thinking about getting into four-way, what would be the top, let's say the top 3 things they can do to go from where they are now, just starting out, to being a future British or world champion?
Well, I think one season at a time, maybe even one weekend at a time. I feel like I was, I knew when I wanted to get into four-way, I wanted to become national champion first. Once I was a national champion, I want to just have the opportunity. But I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with skydiving. I fell in love with, so I wasn't in love with becoming a world champion. That's the end goal. But just falling in love with skydiving, and because you can't become a champion in anything unless you love what you do. And with that, just love, like I have people around me that have become world champions that I've kind of helped along the way, or national champions. And I feel like the biggest thing is to be engaged, to connect with the community, and to be there when the opportunity presents themselves. So for that being, you have to be in the community. You have to go to the drop zone, be part of the league meets in the tunnel, and you have to kind of be out there. And I would encourage that people participate in more things than less. a lot of people want to structure their time where they only want to be on the weekends when it's blue skies, but they don't want to be there in other times. So I feel like, don't become a British champion right away in your mind. Fall in love with the four-way aspect of things, or whatever discipline you're into, and be part of that community and interact with that community. And I know four-way, the tunnel is very productive for four-way. Eight-way, wingsuiting, there's some other dynamics there. Only certain wind tunnels around the world. But then, try to participate in any events that you see also early. Sign up early for any kind of exciting big wave events you might have in Europe or in England. I think, Laura, you're organizing something. The Sky Games, I think you call it.
Yep, that'll be back at some point. We've got loads of stuff going on through the year for people to join in with.
And sometimes it's just like this Hemlin's Grummas that I used to have, that it's just a monthly little skydiving gang with a membership of 40 people. And it's always like anywhere from a 16 to a 22 way. And anyone in this 40-way group can join. And when it's tapped out, it's tapped out. So if you're interested, and people just sign up for that on a monthly basis, very, very, and it builds the skills and it gives you consistent exposure. And then when you go to the tunnel or anything else, it's just that consistent interacting with the community where you get to connect with more people, especially if you're new. Don't be afraid. Reach out to Laura. She'll hook you up.
That is very true. And it looks like you're already inspiring people. We've got Stevie has just popped up on the chat, says, anyone looking to have a weekly meetup at Langar and give a steady four-way learning a go, please reach out. I'm a noob, but we've all got to start somewhere. And then Andy says, I would, Stevie. So if nothing else comes from this, you have inspired two people to go and do some four-way.
Well, we just had a guy, I was organizing over the Christmas boogie here at Skydive Arizona, and I had a guy come up, Ethan was his name. He had just a hoodie and pants on, and he didn't have a jumpsuit. So I'm like, okay, I guess I took my camera guy, Alex, and another guy, a good free flyer. His name is Raleigh. And I just took us with hoodies and jeans, and we did a four-way with Ethan, who had 35 jumps. And that was like the best jump of his life. We did like 15 points. And he was just swimming in free fall. But it was fantastic. And I remember myself doing two ways in the beginning, just coming out doing two ways. And I couldn't even connect with my partner in the beginning, my first year. We just went by each other, And that's another thing. Do challenging two ways. Challenging two ways is definitely something I did a lot. Before I got into the tunnels, I think I had like 3,500 jumps already, or I started flying in the tunnel when I had 3,000 jumps. So before then, I did an enormous amount of two ways. I personally back then rather do like a very skilled two way versus like doing anything else I didn't quite believe in, just to hone my skills. So skilled two ways, four ways, anything like that,
Nice. I like it. Look out for two-way competitions coming up at Langar soon as well. Let's get that going. Let's do it. Awesome. Well, Niklas, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. It's been absolutely amazing. There's been so many people on through this as well while you've been chatting. I've been recording it, so this will be available for you all to watch back. But before I let you go, is there anything final that you'd like to say?
No, I just want to thank you, Laura, for inviting me. I had nothing going on today, just relaxing. So thank you for allowing me to be of service to your community and to skydiving as a whole. Thanks.
We really appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this, and enjoy the rest of your evening and have a good day, Niklas. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.